What's up, guys? It's your girl Serpentine10, and we're going to talk about the state of fighting games right now because there's a lot going on, especially when it comes to people just not being very happy with a lot of the games that are out right now, especially the new ones, and even the ones that have been out for a long time. People are still not happy that changes have not been made to make their experience better, and I definitely do agree. So we're going to talk about different fighting games that have come out and the ones that are out and have been on the shelf for a long time and see why they have not been improving. So to start off, I'm going to talk about Marvel Dokkan Fighting Souls. So this is the newest fighting game that has come out, and this seemed like a dream come true because this game is very reminiscent of Marvel's Capcom. I mean, you see that in this game 100%. I definitely see it. So a lot of people thought that this was going to be the next coming for, that game. But it seems that on their beta testing that was released to everyone, that was not the case, and a lot of problems did show up. So if you got this beta and you played it, you probably came across a lot of problems just like I did. So a lot of people said that things were terrible with the beta. It barely worked. If you had a PC, it was probably the worst experience of your life. People said that they did not have the same problem on PlayStation, but I know PC gamers were struggling a lot with this game, so was I, and it just seemed like it didn't work at all. It took me almost 2 hours to get it to work, and when I did, I still couldn't really get anything going on, especially not online, not in any games. It would pause, it would freeze, and a lot of people talked about this on Steam. It was a overwhelming problem, and it seemed like the creators were going to fix these things. It seemed like they have been trying to patch these problems, but people have still been complaining about this game. And it's not even the, performance issues. A lot of people say that they just hate online. They hate how people play online. They say that, it's not as crisp as you think and that it's kind of boring. It's repetitive. Online just stinks at this point. So people are just not happy. I know that this game has mixed reviews on Steam. I know that a lot of people have just refunded this game, which is really sad because I just feel like this game has something special. It definitely should have been the next Marvel vs. Capcom game. Definitely. Even though I know they're not trying to make it that, it's too similar to it to not say that it's that. But I feel like this game has something special, but it just did not turn out the way that we hoped it did. Oh my goodness, what can I say about Tekken 8 at this point that hasn't already been said? It seemed like this game is in some sort of weird limbo every time I kind of see it. I don't know what's really going on with Tekken. It's in a weird state right now where it's not interesting enough to play. It really doesn't have my ticket for getting improved anytime soon. It just seems like it's kind of stuck. The last character that we came out with was Bob, and I mean, he could have been here. He didn't have to be. It's not a very interesting character, and I know that the next character coming up is supposed to be Roger Jr., which in some kind of weird way, that's kind of a weird pick, but I get it. We haven't seen that character in a long time, and we've seen Bob and Kunimitsu multiple times, but Roger Jr. hasn't been in this game for a while, so it's almost like I kind of let him pass. But I think the problem with Tekken 8 is just performance issues. People don't like the patches. Online sucks, and people just are not liking the characters being picked. A lot of people want fan service characters. They want the classic characters to show up. A lot of people want Bruce. A lot of people want even Eliza out of all people. And I mean, I get that. I know that they want that, and people just weren't happy when you keep getting these characters that people are like, oh my god, what are they doing here? Like Bob, for instance. And I definitely feel bad for Tekken not having a Harada around, but even when Harada was around, Tekken still wasn't doing that great. So now that he's gone, it's in a very, very bad state. This game also has mixed to negative reviews online as well on Steam. It's not doing well. I just don't know what can be done to get Tekken out of the depths. It kind of feel like this is it for this franchise. I know that a Tekken 9 will show up. It definitely will. But I just don't think there's any recovering for this game. I love Street Fighter 6 just like the next person, but when it kind of comes to characters, I feel like this game is a little weird. Now, we did have Yasmine, our Goku ripoff, that kind of came out, and she's interesting to the most part, even though she's kind of a weird fit here, because if you guys looked at the entire lineup that was supposed to be coming out, all these characters were new characters. So we don't know them. They're built from the ground up. They're like totally brand new. And nobody really cares about these characters. Like, again, people want the classic characters, and I don't think that Street Fighter is really listening. Now, one thing that everybody does want is Tifa, which she is, I think, the last character coming out, or she might be the second to the last. But it's going to be almost a year before anybody even sees her, maybe longer than that, because you know how these characters kind of come out and everybody has to kind of deal with these, put together characters until that happens. Now, I'm not saying that these characters can't be interesting. I'm sure a lot of people like Yasmine. I'm sure a lot of people will like Bosch, maybe, and the other guy that blows fire, but it's kind of like that fan service thing again. People want classic characters. I know a lot of people want Makoto, and I think that is kind of a slap in the face that you have this Yasmine character that definitely, gives Makoto vibes, but you just didn't want to give us Makoto. It's kind of weird. So I don't know why Street Fighter did that, but I hope that they have recovery here, because if they don't, I don't really know what's gonna happen. Granted, Street Fighter makes a lot of money, with the tournament scene and merchandise, and they make the most money probably out of all the fighting games that I'm going to mention. So they'll be fine money wise. So they're going to keep making money no matter what, because they have all the means to. But when it just comes to like what people want, people are just not happy, and it's kind of like the same old all the time with the problems that kind of arise. I don't really think that people hate online too much. I think that the online is pretty good when it comes to Street Fighter, and I don't think that has ever been a problem. But I do think that people aren't happy with the patches to some characters, and they're definitely not happy with the prices of costumes. I feel like Street Fighter costumes are ridiculous. That still hasn't changed, and it probably never will. And they're not happy with the character selection. Until things change, I guess that we won't really know what the future is for Street Fighter. All I know is that people really want Tifa. I really want to see Tifa. So until she shows up, I don't know if anybody even cares about these other characters coming out. They seem like they're just kind of like fillers for right now. But we'll have to see what they offer until Tifa shows up. Poor DOA 6 last round. I had high hopes for this game, that it was going to be a smash hit just because we know another installment is supposed to be coming up. But was I wrong? Yes, I was, and so was a lot of other people. So if you've been keeping up with fighting games in general, you know that this game has just been the highlight and talk of the town of just being abysmal when it comes to content. So DOA 6 last round came with no content on launch, and it was bare bones. Nothing really has changed. It came with this Ouroboros thing that changed one stage. So we were supposed to have a brand new character, and she had showed up and she looked very promising, but that was months ago since we seen her, and there's been no more news about that character. And if you ask me, that character should have been here on launch. That would have made more sense, and nothing else has come about that. So people have just been waiting, and then came the costumes, which, oh my god, was a nightmare in itself, because it looked like it was going good and then it just turned up to be not so good. So not only did we not get Mai and Kula, because you have to pay for those characters again, but they had added new costumes that were a ridiculous price that have been 4 different colors, separated, by the way, not all together, and you have to pay for them separately or all together for about $20, which is utterly ridiculous. And then on top of that, these costumes weren't really that interesting. A lot of them were ugly, a lot of them were just kind of middle of the road, and some of them doesn't even fit the character. I think that my girl Kazumi's was okay, but at the same time, hers was a little bit weird. It wasn't terrible. I just feel like it didn't really fit her. But other characters got the worst of it, like Nico. She was just wearing absolute garbage. And then Ayane, I don't know what she was wearing. It was terrible. So you guys can definitely check out my other videos on that. I definitely made videos on that, and they're still going with this costume pack thing that they seem to be doing every month. So the costume packs, they will happen every month on each week. So that has been happening, but it seems like it's this weird thing that's been going on where none of the OG characters have been getting costumes. They keep going back to these weirdo characters that I guess people like, which is the whole Marie Rose, Nico kind of thing. So Marie Rose and Nico have new costumes again in a summer wear form, and people are not happy about that. I'm not even happy about that because we got so many characters on this roster and you just picking them again. I don't know why they chose to do that. It's a little weird, but they did. So I don't know how long this is going to take for us to go through every character, but it seems like if you like anybody else that's not Nico or Marie Rose, you're going to be waiting a little bit for some costumes. So we've been dealing with that, and not only is the costume thing crazy, but online for this game is just pretty much dead. Just dead in a nutshell. Nobody's on there. I have played and I get the same character about 1,000,000 times. It's really messed up because I really wanted DOA to do well, because we all know that all this funding for this game and the costumes and stuff is just going to go to DOA 7. We know that's what's going to happen, but the way that they're playing their hand with this game now is very bad. They would have to do something to really change this up, because as I said, online is dead. There's nobody on there. The last time I checked, there might be about 57 people that are playing online right now. That is not good for numbers with this game. And it seemed like people want a lot of fan service costumes, and Team Ninja just is not doing that. They're making a lot of weird choices with the costumes. They haven't showed any new characters yet. They haven't even showed the character that they showed us at first. We haven't even seen her. So I don't know what's really going on with DOA, but it's definitely dead right now for sure. And it may not never get back on its feet again at this point in time, but we'll just have to see what the future holds with all these updates. It seems like Team Ninja did respond to all this, and they said they were fixing things, but you guys know how this is when companies talk about this. They kind of tell you, what you want to hear, but you really have to see the changes from them to see if they even care about what the fans are saying, because I feel like if they did, we will be getting a lot of fan service costumes like people want. They feel like costumes are too censored. They feel like they're too weird. And we have to see if Team Ninja even does that in the future. So all these problems are just ongoing with all these games. It's kind of crazy that the games that we have now that are brand new are suffering from the same problems that all these current games that have been out for the longest time are dealing with. So it's like companies and developers, they just keep doing the same thing over and over again. And people are complaining about the same stuff, but it seems like nobody's really getting the memo that why do we just keep repeating the same thing again? It seems like it's the same complaints over and over again. Online sucks. We want better costumes. We need better patches. Give us classic characters. These have been just talked about over and over and over again ever since I've been playing fighting games. And it just continues to be an issue. And I just don't understand why developers and companies just won't, listen to the fans, because, we're buying the games. So I feel like if you don't satisfy the fans at some point, I mean, they're gonna stop buying this stuff. They're gonna have the weird reviews online like we already have, mixed, negative. People are not gonna buy your games no more. They're just not gonna support anymore. And it's really sad, especially with newer games like Marvel Tokon, that is just dead in the water already. People are already refunding this game. It's really bad because this is a brand new game and it seems like it has a lot of hope, but it's already done for this game, it seems like, and it hasn't even like gotten off the ground. It just came out. So that's not a good sign for fighting games, in the future. It's very worrisome, and I just don't know what will happen. Even games like Dead or Alive, there's supposed to be a new installment, and they have just been dropping the ball left and right. But I do have some hope for fighting games because think about it. We do have Virtua Fighter Crossroads coming up. So I really, really hope that will break this curse that fighting games are having because it's really terrible. And being a fighting game fan right now is really, really terrible to be dealing with it. So what do you guys think about this topic? Will fighting games get back on their feet again, or are they going to be dead to us in a couple of years? You guys know what you have to do. Make sure you guys are checking me out right here on my YouTube and on my Patreon. Until next time, guys. Peace.